Just a quick reminder before today's programme that if you missed the last Doctor Who review, you can check it out here on the channel, that being our review of episode 5 of series 12, Fugitive of the Judoon. And if you're a classic Who fan in particular, be sure to check out the recent unboxing of the latest Doctor Who Blu-ray, that being the final season of the classic series, season 26. And now, here on AMTV, it's time for the latest Doctor Who review as we take a look at episode 6 of series 12, Praxeus.
Hi there guys, it's Martyn here, and welcome to another instalment of the Doctor Who review. And this time we're reviewing episode 6 of series 12, that being the episode titled Praxeus. Now, going into this one, as usual, I've written a load of notes on my phone, not in any particular order, just stuff I wanted to talk about. It might be a shorter video than what I've been doing so far in the Doctor Who review. I'll explain why as I go on. My first point was, I just thought this was a kind of run-of-the-mill Doctor Who. Not bad by any means, but it was sort of a typical standalone episode. I just sort of it finished and I was like, okay, that was that. I think it was hard after obviously last week's Fugitive of the Judoon introduced so many bombshells to us, like Captain Jack came back and we've got this new incarnation of the Doctor. Praxeus immediately had a hard job to follow. The next thing I wrote was Praxeus as a concept was interesting because obviously in the build-up we've known the title of this episode for a few weeks and you ask yourself, is Praxeus a planet, is it a race of people? But to find out it was actually some sort of disease was quite interesting, and the actual disease itself was quite horrifying but also in a way kind of cool, the way it sort of creeped up people's bodies and sort of encapsulated them as a whole. I wanted to learn more about Praxeus as a disease. Like I know it was briefly explained how it formed and stuff, but I wanted to know about like its real origins and just how could it affect people differently. The Doctor makes note that humans obviously disintegrate, but when the Suki character disappears, it's kind of the same, even though it's implied she's not human. So I wanted to know more about the disease, basically. What I did like was when in Hong Kong, when Yaz went back to get the power source, because it actually introduced a bit of stakes for the companions, because as they were heading towards the TARDIS, the whole group of them, I thought, well, they're just going to jump in and take off. But when Yaz stops and says she wants to go back, you can visibly see in Jodie's performance that she's a bit reluctant to do so, because at the end of the day, these three companions that she travels with are her friends, and in some way she's kind of responsible for them, and she doesn't want to see him get hurt. I like how she does let Yaz go, but I wanted even more tension there. I think they could have played on that scene more in the writing aspect. I think we could have built on that tension of the Doctor and the companion and putting their lives, knowing that they're putting their lives at danger. So there could have been more of a thing made there. There were some really nice scenes between Graham and the astronaut's husband. I can't remember the character's name, so I do apologise, and I'm saying this off the cuff, but that scene where they sit on the beach and chat I really did enjoy. Graham as a character I've always enjoyed because he's just like very wholesome and very down to earth. I mean, that's partly because of Bradley Walsh's fabulous acting. But I'd like more scenes sort of like that, but between maybe Graham and some of the companions, or even maybe Graham and the Doctor. Because out of the three companions with the Doctor, I mean, yes, they all have a great bond, but I feel the Doctor could have some really nice scenes, just her and Graham, just chatting about whatever, really. But I'd love to see some more of that. Yeah, the last act, so like the last 15-20 minutes, felt a little bit quick and rushed to the conclusion. As soon as sort of the antidote worked, we sort of went on the spaceship, bad woman with gun was destroyed, and antidote spread, and all is well, planet is good, you can go. Personally, when the astronaut's husband went back to the ship, I thought that could have had a really dramatic ending if they'd killed him off. I know killing off characters isn't always the answer, but I feel in that instance that could have been a really powerful moment and inspired the astronaut to maybe carry on in his name or something like that. But he was saved at the last minute, which was nice enough, but I think more of a dramatic build-up could have been attained from that. But I think these episodes also need to just take their time a little bit more, do you know what I mean? Like, I think they can just afford to breathe a little bit more, because I've not just in Jodie's era, it was sometimes happening in the previous era with Peter Capaldi. Sometimes stories just get madly rushed to a conclusion. But this is more of a question rather than about the episode. Should Doctor Who episodes all be an hour long? Because at the minute they're currently about 50 minutes in length. And yes, I know Spyfall, I believe both parts of Spyfall were an hour, but I think they were all the better for it. Same with the New Year's specials or Christmas specials. Although having said that, all the stories in the 45-minute era managed to tell cohesive tales, so I don't know what's going on in the 50-minute era, but should all episodes be an hour? I think they should. Let me know in the comments whether you think Doctor Who episodes should be an hour long instead of 50 minutes. So we didn't get any links to who I'm calling Dr. Ruth, this new incarnation of the Doctor. Part of me expected this, it's probably going to be brought up in the 2-part finale that we know is coming. So 6, 7 and 8 had potential not to mention it and they didn't. It's fine in a way because they sort of left Fugitive of the Judoon with the whole, right, we've acknowledged it but we're going to carry on travelling and having fun. But I would have appreciated maybe even just a line, maybe in the TARDIS either at the start or at the end of the episode just to tie it all back in, or just make us remember, for those who dip in and out the series, make us remember that Jodie's Doctor is really grappling with this whole new identity crisis in a way, and it would have been nice to have just a small reminder of that. So in this episode we had more links to key issues, obviously this time being plastic pollution. If you remember in episode 3, Orphan 55, we had the issue about climate change, now it's pollution. I'm not against these key messages because, as I mentioned in the Orphan 55 video, Doctor Who is no stranger to tackling events. Like in the Third Doctor's time, he tackled all sorts of things, pollution, corruption, the climate change. I mean, the Green Death, which is all about climate change in a way, is one of the most revered Doctor episodes of all time. So it can be done, and I thought Orphan 55 was done well. It got a little preachy towards the end. This one, I felt it was less rammed in to begin with, but it still got a little bit too preachy. I think, for me at least as a viewer, the beauty is you can address these issues. You can have a character say, oh, so it's because of plastic pollution, or oh, it's because of climate change. But once that's established, I think nowadays, you don't need to keep bashing us on the head with it and telling us that we've done bad. We have done bad, we know it, but we'll feel all the more impact, I think, if you just address it and leave it as that. Let us see the devastation. Let us see, instead of hearing, let's see it. That's what I'm trying to get across. Doctor Who does the birds was my next note. I mean, the whole birds attacking was quite cool, and when the young lad on the beach was essentially eaten to death, that was actually quite grim, and it did remind me of Alfred Hitchcock's 1963 movie, The Birds, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. I wanted them to play more on the horror aspect, and also when they came in the science lab and they're all running out and the doctor says, don't let them scratch you, we see hundreds of them in there, and they all have various exposed skin, if you like, and you're telling me that no one got scratched? I don't know, maybe that's just me being too nitpicky. But I wanted them to play more the horror aspect. And the main final point I wrote was I wanted to know more about Suki and her race. So this, seemingly nice scientist turns out to be like a crashed spaceship come from elsewhere. But I wanted to know more. I wanted to see how it had, in a way, like how Praxeus had ravaged her planet or her people. I wanted to see Praxeus' full devastation, because the Doctor kept talking about, this can ravage the Earth, this can destroy everything. I wanted to see the full effects of Praxeus, but on another planet. And so, we didn't get it, but alas, that can be Doctor Who for you sometimes. And those are all my main thoughts on episode 6 of series 12, Praxeus. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the episode? Let me know in the comments whether you enjoyed Praxeus. Is it your favourite episode of the series so far? If not, what has been your favourite so far? And make sure you tune in next time, because we'll be looking at episode 7, which I believe is titled, Can You Hear Me? It looks like a sort of weird dream state one, which looks pretty cool. So make sure you tune in next week. Also, if you're interested in winning some Doctor Who Target books, check out the recent Sunday catch-up to find out how you can potentially win some of that if you leave your comments on that video. But until then, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and until the next one, I will see you guys next time.
Well, that does bring us to a close this evening on AMTV. We do hope you enjoyed the programme, and please do keep your eyes open for brand new content that will be coming to you soon. Until then, have a very good week, and we hope that you join us again soon. Good night.